Welcome back, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I am your host, Viz, and today we have a very special guest, New York Times best-selling author Jane Velez-Mitchell, who was also a former news anchor and now founder of the digital streaming platform UnchainedTV. Jane, thank you so much for being here with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, spreading the word about a solution to 99% of the world's problems.
And that's what we're going to get into today. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty of what Unchained TV is all about, explain to the audience in your own words what is Unchained TV? What can people expect to find there?
Well, we are in a time of crisis, many crises, but you could talk about world hunger. You could talk about climate change. You could talk about habitat destruction, wildlife extinction, human world hunger, preventable human diseases. And in turn, because of all the money we're spending treating preventable human diseases, skyrocketing healthcare costs, which lead to budget deficits, which lead to more taxes, on and on and on, not to mention animal cruelty. And all of it boils down to one underlying false assumption that we accept, most of us, as a given, that we need to kill to survive, that for us to live, an animal has to die. And once we take that false assumption out of the equation, everything clears up. We could literally solve 90% of the world's problems with that one switch. So that's what Unchained TV is all about. Why did I start this? Yes, I was in mainstream media for 40 years, okay? I worked in local news. I worked in syndicated television. I covered some of the biggest trials of our time. I also had a show on CNN Headline News, HLN, for 6 years, wrote 4 books. But as much as I tried to get this fundamental truth out, I was blocked.
Yeah.
I will give hats off to CNN for allowing me to do a segment once a week for 3 minutes, but it really requires more than that. So that's why I started Unchained TV. It's a global free streaming network that anybody can get. You can get it right on your phone. You don't have to pay a penny. You literally just put the words Unchained TV in, and it's a portal to a whole new way of living that really hundreds and hundreds of videos, thousands really at this point, and they all provide solutions. So many people are suffering, including depression, okay? And there is this solution, and we're just trying to get the word out. Mainstream media won't tell you because look at their advertisers.
Yeah.
Meat, dairy, pharmaceuticals, the very industries that are, let's face it, creating the problem.
Exactly. Now, besides mobile devices, Unchained TV is available in a lot of other areas like Roku. Tell people where, besides their mobile devices, and it is available on PC, it's available on the Roku streaming box. Is it available anywhere else besides Roku?
Yes, it's available. If you have an Amazon Fire Stick, you just put in the words Unchained TV, it comes right up. If you have an Apple TV device, one of those little clickers, you just put it in, and it's in the process of being available on all Samsung television sets globally. The only place that we're not allowed in is China at this point, but we're pretty much everywhere else in the world. And it's just amazing to see people watching in Croatia and watching in Vietnam and watching in Latin America, and of course in the United States, Canada, and England, and Australia. And people are watching all over the world, and they need this information. You know, the clock is ticking. We have documentaries. I did a documentary. It's won numerous awards, called Countdown to Year Zero. We only have a few short years to transition to a plant-based lifestyle to avoid a climate apocalypse. Now, that sounds crazy, right? Oh my God, what's she talking about? But the truth is that even the UN admits that animal agriculture is a leading contributor to climate change. Now, you can quibble about what percentage, okay, because it's a very big subject. So it really depends on how you calculate it. Do you include the lost opportunity of all the forests destroyed for cattle grazing and to grow commodity crops to kill 80 billion animals that we're feeding every year to be slaughtered? If you include that lost opportunity to absorb carbon, because trees absorb carbon, then some people can make a very strong argument that animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. That's been disputed, but nobody disputes that it's a leading cause. But you'll see at COP27 and the other UN meetings talking about the climate crisis, they don't talk about animal agriculture. So the reason is most of those people are eating animals. So you've got a fox guarding the hen house situation here. It's easy to rail against fossil fuels, okay? But it's much harder to make that decision 3 times a day to lower your carbon and lower your suffering footprint. And that's what we teach people.
And I have never personally mixed animal farms with climate change. I've never put the two together until just now, and you mentioning that, and it's something that a lot of people don't put together. How can raising cows for slaughter lead to climate change and disaster? It's just something that people don't, put one and one together to make two. Now, Unchained TV is a 501c nonprofit, so it is very important to state you're not in this for profit. You're not in this for any kind of monetary gain. This is a passion of yours. And not having that constraint of being tied to a distributor in the mainline media, how just exhilarating is that, not having to conform to mainstream media and have to get approval of what content you put on your platform?
Yes, you said it so well, because one of the reasons why we are doing this is that so many people are producing these incredible documentaries. I mean, really, really good documentaries that nobody's seeing because the streaming networks have become a lot more corporate. Oh, yeah. So they're becoming more corporate. And what's happening is that people are producing documentaries that just go on the film festival circuit, and then where do they go? So we have this platform that anybody who wants to send this message about a solution, a nonviolent solution to our problems, can put their content, as long as it meets a certain quality standard, on Unchained TV. So we have award-winning documentaries. We have cooking shows. We also do original content. We did New Day, New Chef, which is a celebrity-packed 20-episode cooking show, which has also been on public television stations around the United States and Canada. And it's also on Amazon Prime, except they charge 99 cents an episode on Amazon Prime. We give it away for free. And the reason we do that is that, I can't go to sleep at night thinking I've got a solution to a huge percentage of the world's problems, and I'm not telling anybody about it. And so we're beating our chest trying to get the word out, but there's a block. And this does an end run around the mainstream media blackout on this kind of information. Because why? There's no greater customer than an addict. They'll keep coming back over and over. So we live in a fast food nation. It's a massive, massive industry, and it's making people fat, sick, and nearly dead. In fact, that's the title of a documentary. And so what's happening is that this is causing so many problems, but there's a block to getting that information out there. That if you're suffering from heart disease, if you are worried about getting cancer, do you know that the World Health Organization has declared that all processed meat, which includes hot dogs, deli slices, bacon, is cancer causing? Do they talk about that? No. Now, if you saw a newspaper advertising, here are the 5 best cigarettes, you'd say, well, that's irresponsible. If you saw a parent feeding cigarettes or lighting up a child and giving a child a cigarette, you'd say, I'm calling child services. Yeah. We are shoving that cancer-causing food down the throats of school children in schools all across the country and the world, and people aren't saying anything about it. Follow the money.
Exactly.
So, I can connect it. I can connect eating of animals and their byproducts, because milk is liquid meat. We're humans. We do not need to drink the breast milk of another species. End of story. When we are weaned from our own mother's milk, there is no need for us to consume the breast milk of another species. And indeed, the global majority has an extremely high level of lactose intolerance. So, we've got a serious situation where people are suffering from all sorts of side effects of drinking the breast milk of another species. And the solution is don't drink the breast milk of another species. Exactly. I had soy milk for breakfast today with my coffee. There's all sorts of plant milks. There's almond milk, there's rice milk, there's hemp milk, there's soy milk, there's, the list is endless. And those are zero cholesterol. People are screaming and yelling about the rising price of eggs. Guess what? We shouldn't be eating eggs. They're a huge cholesterol bomb at a time when heart disease is the leading killer.
Yep. Yep. Now let's talk about a particular show on Unchained TV, and I love this. Pig Little Lies. Okay, it's a reality show about rescued pigs. So let's focus in on one show, and what can you tell the people about Pig Little Lies?
Okay, so we were sitting around. We've created this network. By the way, we did it like well under $100,000, where the mainstream networks are spending literally billions and billions of dollars. But it looks and acts pretty much like Netflix. Okay, so we created this network. Then we're like, we have to get people in the tent. We can't just lecture them. We don't want to lecture people. So we said, let's do something entertaining, like a reality TV show. So I call my very good friend Simone Reyes, who's a country music singer, and she's a lot of fun. And she's been in reality shows. I said, Simone, we got to do a reality show. She goes, I can't talk to you right now. I'm in the process of rescuing 2 pigs from a high kill shelter. If I don't get them out tonight, they're going to be killed. Wow. I said, wait a second, Simone, that's our reality show. So we only reenacted the first conversation that I just described to you. The rest actually happens. We pull out the 2 pigs. A woman in North Hollywood takes them in. Turns out mama's pregnant. They're named after Dante and Beatrice of the famous poem, Dante's Inferno. And so Dante and Beatrice and their brood have this amazing dramatic saga. It's funny. It's entertainment. Of course, there's an underlying message that pigs are highly intelligent. They have the intelligence of like toddler human children, and they're extremely emotional. But this is a lot of fun. So the whole point is, look, we're not trying to lecture people. We're trying to give people, I'm 27 years sober, okay? And when I first thought about getting sober, I thought, I'm never going to have fun again. I'm never going to go to a party again. I'm never going to karaoke again. I'm never going to laugh again. Guess what? That was all my crazy projection. I'm happier today. As the saying goes, my worst day sober is better than my best day drunk. Now, it's the same thing with going plant-based. People think, oh, I'll never go to a party. What can I eat? My relatives, blah, blah, blah. No. We show that anything you make with animal products can now be made vegan. And it's just a really fun way of cooking because there's so much more variety in vegan cooking. Let's face it, there's only about 6 animals we eat, but there are tens of thousands of fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, and legumes that we can array in a huge amount of combinations, infinite number of combinations. We also make the connection between depression and eating a bad fast food, meat and dairy laden diet. You know, depression is skyrocketing. So many people are down. Well, your gut biome to a large degree determines your serotonin levels. And if you eat whole food, plant-based diet filled with fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains, that really improves your serotonin level. I'm not suggesting we can cure all depression. Please don't get me wrong. I know I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychiatrist, but what I could say is there's a growing amount of scientific evidence that your mood is determined by what you eat. As the old saying goes, you are what you eat.
What I find very interesting about Unchained TV is not only the documentaries and reality shows that you guys show there, but the cooking shows. You have a nice mix. Okay, you just watched a show telling you facts that you may not have known, but now here's other content showing you that there is another way to live, another way to eat. Are you happy with the balance of like the recipes and the cooking and the documentaries and the real life stories that are shown?
Yes, but we always want to improve. My biggest problem is, how do I edit everything that's coming in? I'm going, as soon as we finish here, to North Hollywood, where Beagle Freedom Project has rescued a whole bunch of huskies. And I'm going to be videotaping that story, which I have to edit. And also I have to do versions for social media. And so those are different kinds, like social media is vertical and the app is for horizontal. So I have to do sort of double the work. I also just interviewed Moby, who just is putting out his incredible vegan punk rock music movie, which shows the connection between punk rock music and veganism. You know, people think punk rock so angry and violent. It's actually a movement of nonviolence that questions authority and questions established conventions like eating animals. And a lot of the punk rock stars were and are vegan, and he shows that connection. It's truly a fascinating movie. And so we'll have to edit that. There's also the closing of Farmer John's Slaughterhouse here in downtown LA, the infamous slaughterhouse where millions of pigs were slaughtered over the years. A baby pig, 6 months old. So what? So people can eat hot dogs at a baseball game. I mean, it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
And especially when there's veggie dogs, I mean, you can have a veggie dog. You put the mustard, you put the relish, you put the sauerkraut on it. You can't tell the difference, And so why are we torturing baby pigs so that we can? It just doesn't make any sense. And again, processed meat is cancer causing. But I have so much to edit that I literally work from like 7:30 in the morning to like 9:30 at night because, sometimes people think we have this massive operation. We're actually connected to a post office box, and people see the building where the post office box is, and they think that's Unchained TV headquarters. And they contact me and they're like, have your IT teams, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And
exactly.
I just laugh because it's me and two other people.
Exactly. I totally get that. Which point in your life did you become vegan?
It was right after I got sober. I got sober 27 years ago. And then I was working at the Paramount Studios a lot at a local news station called KCAL. And in walks Howard Lyman, who had recently been on the Oprah show. He's the fourth generation cattle rancher who made a pact with God when he went into surgery. And he said, if you get me out of the surgery alive, I'll reveal the secret horrors of the industry. And he did. And I don't know if you remember, this is literally more than a quarter century ago, but Oprah said, that just stopped me cold from eating another burger. And the cattleman sued her and she won, blah, blah, blah. So he had his 15 minutes of fame. He wrote a book called Mad Cowboy, and he came in and I did the interview with him. And afterwards, he walked up to my cubicle and said, we hear you're a vegetarian. At that time, I was a vegetarian, but I still ate dairy. I still ate milk products and eggs. And I said, yes. And he said, do you eat dairy? And I hung my head because he just talked about the fact that for us to drink the mother's milk, mother has to be separated from her baby calf because the baby calf wants to drink the mother's milk. Now, the mothers grieve and the babies grieve. The boys, they have no use for. They throw them in veal crates or they shoot them or they leave them on dead piles. So he was telling me all these horror stories. So I hung my head and I said, yeah, I still do eat dairy. And he said, liquid meat. He put his finger right on my nose and said, liquid meat, like that. And that's the moment I went vegan.
Oh, wow.
So when people say don't ever confront somebody, well, yeah, I don't confront all the time, but I was shamed into going vegan because what he said made sense. And because I was sober, I had the clarity to align my values of being kind, being a good person, and not participating in cruelty with my actions. And it's that simple. And, it takes about 30 days for your taste buds to return to their factory settings. Yeah. So after about 30 days, somebody put cheese in a salad I was having, and I went, ooh, and I used to love cheese, but my taste buds had changed. And now there's tons of vegan cheeses, Miyokos, and all sorts of other vegan cheeses. And so you can have it without the cruelty. What we talk about on Unchained TV is here's how you lower your suffering footprint. Everybody's talking about lower your carbon footprint. Well, you can also, at the same time, lower your suffering footprint 3 times a day by making a healthy, compassionate, climate-friendly choice. It's better for you. It's better for animals. It's better for the planet. It's a win-win-win. And that's what we get through because so many people are struggling. And then people say, well, it's so expensive. No, it's not actually. No. You can buy a cabbage, a sack of potatoes, and a few other veggies and live off of that for 3 weeks if you had to. So we try to, our movement is kind of in, I would say, whoever frames the debate wins the debate. And they're trying to box us in because first, when we try to introduce the concept of veganism, well, they say, well, what do you eat? Grass? I say, oh no, now we're going to make anything that you have. There's vegan eggs, there's vegan hot dogs, there's vegan burgers, there's vegan this, that, and the other. And then they go, well, that's processed. So they're trying to make it so you can't win no matter what you do. Exactly. Did any of these newscasters care about processed meats that are cancer causing, which processed vegetables aren't? And they like to throw the word processed around. You take a banana and a mango, you stick them in a Cuisinart for 5 seconds, that's processed.
Exactly.
All processed food is not equal.
Exactly. Jane, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and sharing just your experiences, opening up my eyes to stuff that I really never knew about. Again, guys, the platform is called Unchained TV. It's available everywhere. It's available on your mobile phone. It's available on your PC. It's available on the Roku, Apple TV. Check it out. Just look at the content, and it may open your eyes and change your life. Do you have any final thoughts before we go, Jane?
I just want to say we're all doing this, and I have a team of volunteers simply to get the word out, because there is a solution. And this is also evolution. If we evolve beyond this massive killing in industrialized ways, we're going to just live in a world of natural abundance. Imagine ending human world hunger. Animal agriculture is an inefficient food source. It takes whatever, 2, 5, 10, 15, 25 pounds of grain to create 1 pound of steak while children are starving. Why not take the majority of soy that's produced, that's currently being fed to farmed animals, and redirect it to starving children? So when people say, well, I care about people, I say, so do I.
Exactly.
That's why you got to check out Unchained TV.
And Unchained TV, like we said, is a nonprofit. If you want to donate, just go to that website on your screen, UnchainedTV.com, and there is a donate button to help Jane and the cause. I want to thank our audience, those who are tuning in live and those who will be watching later on. I want to thank our guest, Jane Velez-Mitchell. On behalf of Jane and myself, stay safe and stay walking. Bye, everybody.